Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters. Put your name in salt water and watch what Allah does next. Sounds strange, maybe even superstitious, but across cultures and centuries, from prophetic traditions to modern healing sessions, people are rediscovering something powerful. When you combine your name, your identity, salt, Allah's purifier, and water, the source of all life, something starts to shift. Enemies go silent. Heavy burdens feel lighter. Forgotten du'as are answered in unexpected ways. This isn't magic. It's not shirk. It's rooted in ancient Islamic practice, Quranic symbolism, and the natural healing properties Allah placed in the earth. Millions are quietly doing this. Let me show you why, and what might happen when you do it too. Have you ever used salt for spiritual healing or protection in your home? Maybe after an argument, a sickness, or strange energy? Tell us what happened in the comments. Your story could help someone else. Before starting this video, don't forget to like this video, because it gives us a lot of strength to continue sharing beneficial content. And I invite you to subscribe to our channel and activate the notification bell to stay informed of our next publications on the Islamic faith. Share it with your loved ones and leave a comment to tell me what you think. Thank you and good video. Salt in nature and spiritual tradition. Salt is one of the earth's most ancient gifts. It preserves, purifies, and in many cultures, protects from evil. Across continents and centuries, salt has been used not only to flavor food, but to cleanse energy, shield from harm, and anchor intentions. From the indigenous tribes of the Americas, who scattered salt around fire circles to keep negative spirits away, to the ancient Egyptians, who buried their dead with salt to purify the journey to the afterlife, to the Sufi mystics, who placed bowls of salt under beds or doorways to absorb dark energies. Salt has always been seen as more than mineral. It's a symbol of purification, boundary, and clarity. And science agrees. Salt water conducts electricity. That means it carries charge. And spiritually, it's said to absorb and discharge emotional, energetic, and even jinn-related disturbances. Islamic perspective. In Islam, we don't worship salt. We don't assign it supernatural power, but we acknowledge Allah's wisdom in His creations. Salt, like water, fire, and the wind, are tools, not gods. Instruments, not idols. Many fitra-based Islamic healers use salt as part of ruqya, tahara, or to cleanse a space where someone is spiritually unsettled. Sprinkling salt water around the corners of a home, bathing with salty water after nightmares, placing a bowl of salt in a room of conflict. These aren't innovations. They're practices rooted in observing nature and the unseen, with Allah as the source of all healing. Salt has no power except what Allah permits it to carry. Do you believe that Allah placed healing within the natural world? Have you ever used natural remedies, like salt, honey, black seed, or water alongside prayer or Quran? Comment with yes if you've ever experienced natural healing through what Allah has created. Salt in Islam, Sunnah and symbolism. Salt isn't just a seasoning. In Islamic tradition, it's a symbol of balance, healing, and spiritual clarity. The Prophet Muhammad was known to begin and end his meals with a pinch of salt, a practice rarely remembered today. This was not out of habit or superstition, but because salt balances the body's energies, stimulates digestion, and offers subtle purification. Some scholars said, just as you begin in the name of Allah, you begin with what is simple, pure, and naturally healing. In a hadith narrated from Ali, radiallahu anhu, It's mentioned, "He who begins with salt will be protected from 70 kinds of diseases." While not all narrations are graded strong, the cultural practice among early Muslims, especially in the Hijaz and North Africa, has continued for generations. Salt in ruqya and spiritual protection. Across the Muslim world, salt is used in ruqya, spiritual healing, sprinkling salt water in home corners to neutralize energy after arguments or unexplained disturbances, adding salt to a ghusl bath after nightmares, sihr, black magic, or evil eye symptoms, writing one's name on paper and dissolving it in salt water while reciting specific du'as, as an act of spiritual detachment and surrender to Allah. Healers remind us, it's not the salt, it's the surrender, the intention, and the trust in Allah through His creation. Spiritual symbolism of the practice. Let's break this ritual down spiritually. Salt equals preservation. Just as salt preserves food from decay, it symbolizes preserving your intention, your identity, and your spiritual energy.
Water, it's its flow. It represents the flow of life, surrender, and the movement, washing away burdens or attachments. Your name is identity. In Islam, your name is not random. It carries a vibration, frequency, and meaning, often tied to your soul's role on earth. So when you place your name in salt water, with intention and dhikr, you're essentially saying, Ya Allah, purify me, preserve me, remove what doesn't serve me. I surrender my name, my identity, and my path to you. Did you know that starting your meal with salt is a forgotten sunnah of the Prophet? Comment Sunnah Revived if this surprised you. And let's bring back the wisdom in the small things. Name in salt water. Ritual explained. You may have heard whispers about it. Writing your name, soaking it in salt water, and letting Allah do the rest. But what's the truth behind this quiet, symbolic act? Let's break it down. Not as superstition, but as a spiritual reflection tool rooted in tawakkul, trust in Allah, an understanding of nature's role in purification. How to do it, step by step. Write your name on a clean piece of paper. Write your full name, first and last. This symbolizes your identity, your soul's frequency. Prepare the salt water. In a glass or ceramic bowl, mix water with natural salt, Himalayan, sea or rock salt. Say Bismillah and recite Ayat al-Kursi or Surah al-Falaq if you like. Place your name in the bowl. Let the paper float or soak. As it absorbs the salt water, recite a dua, istighfar, or simply speak from your heart. Ask Allah for clarity, cleansing, or the removal of envy, sadness, or spiritual heaviness. Leave it overnight. Ideally, place the bowl in a clean, undisturbed spot, near a window or even under the moonlight if possible. Let it sit from evening until Fajr. Dispose mindfully. In the morning, dispose of the water outside, into soil, a garden, or running water. Tear up the paper and discard it with dignity. Don't pour it down the toilet. Respect the act and the name. Why this resonates spiritually? This practice isn't magic. It's not shirk. It's not about the salt or the water having powers of their own. Instead, it's about your niyyah, intention, and understanding the signs and tools Allah placed in creation. Your name represents your soul. Salt draws out what is stagnant or harmful. Water carries memory and intention, a scientific and spiritual truth. When you do this, you're not manifesting. You're cleansing, surrendering,
and inviting Allah's mercy into what's weighing you down. Just like ghusl cleansed the body, this ritual is a symbolic ghusl for your spiritual name, your inner self. Not innovation, just reflection. Prophets used nature, Musa's staff, Ibrahim's fire, Yusuf's dream interpretations, Muhammad using salt, black seed, cupping. If it draws you closer to Allah, leads to reflection, and respects the boundaries of Tawheed, it becomes a means, not a replacement. This isn't magic, it's mercy. If your heart is sincere and your trust is in Allah. Have you ever tried something like this? Writing names, using salt, or natural rituals for cleansing or prayer? Share it below. You might inspire someone's healing. Modern stories and testimonies. Sometimes, healing doesn't come through thunder or lightning. It comes through water, salt, and a broken heart whispering to its creator. Across the globe, Muslims are rediscovering natural, reflective practices rooted in sincerity and surrender, and finding unexpected peace. Real user testimony, fictionalized but pattern-based. After months of cold silences and shouting matches, I was exhausted. My husband and I were drifting apart. Therapy hadn't worked. I came across the salt water ritual, and one night in desperation, I wrote both of our names on paper. I let them soak in salt water while I made dua for peace, not control. I asked Allah to soften whatever pride, pain, or poison lived between us. 2 days later, out of nowhere, he apologized for things I thought he'd never admit. I never told him about the ritual. I just wept. I knew this wasn't the salt. This was mercy. It softened both our hearts. This story echoes thousands. Salt doesn't fix people. Allah does. But when you sincerely let go, Allah steps in. Real global event, Lebanon, 2024. After waves of political unrest in Beirut left communities broken, a local spiritual healer named Amina began organizing saltwater healing circles. Using salt water, Quranic recitations, and silent reflection, participants would gather to symbolically cleanse themselves of trauma, grief, and generational pain. Our people don't need exorcisms, she said. They need purification of pain. What began as a niche practice soon drew community imams, counselors, and families seeking peace. Within weeks, neighbors reported fewer disputes, better sleep, and a sense of calm entering the streets. Even doctors noted improved mental wellness in follow-up visits. This wasn't superstition, it was spiritual psychology, people creating space for Allah's healing through intentional acts of surrender. Why these stories matter? Because they're not about magic. They're about people saying, Ya Allah, I can't carry this anymore. Help me release it. The salt, the water, the moonlight, they're not the cure. They're reminders. They are physical metaphors for spiritual healing. Like crying into a prayer mat or washing hands before dua. They engage the body, while the heart speaks directly to Allah. Have you ever found healing through something simple? Like salt, water, touch, or silence? When you paired it with dua, tell us your story. You might be the sign someone else is looking for today. Quranic parallels, names, water, purity. This ritual, placing your name in salt water, is not innovation. It's symbolism, echoing profound themes already embedded in the Quran: water, identity, and cleansing. Water, the source of life. And we made from water every living thing. Surah Al-Anbiya 21:30. Water in the Quran is life, mercy, cleansing, and a divine sign. It purifies, not just physically, but spiritually. In ghusl, wudu, and even janaza, water is how we begin and end spiritual cycles. By placing your name in water, you are inviting that same divine cleansing over your identity, your past, your burdens. Salt, symbol of duality and depth. This one sweet and palatable, and this one salty and bitter. Surah Al-Furqan 25:53. In this verse, Allah contrasts two bodies of water, sweet and salty, each with its own boundary and purpose. Salt water is not cursed, but set apart. It is strong, it draws out impurities, and it symbolizes difficulty that leads to clarity. Salt doesn't just flavor, it preserves, protects, and purifies. In many traditional Islamic healing practices, rock salt or sea salt is used to pull out spiritual heaviness, envy, and unseen disturbances, hasad, ayn. The name, a vessel of meaning. In the unseen world, your name is not random. It is spoken in du'as. It appears in contracts. It holds your frequency, your history, your path. Allah in the Quran honors the power of names. Ibrahim was called Khalilullah, the intimate friend of Allah. Yusuf was named and honored before his birth. Yaqub became Israel, a name that carried the legacy of a nation. And on the day of judgment, we will be called by our names and our fathers' names, a spiritual signature. So placing your name into salt water is not superstition. It's a symbolic surrender of your identity to the purification of Allah. It says, Ya Rab, cleanse what no one sees, heal what I can't explain, elevate me in ways only you know how. Salt plus water plus name is tazkiyah, purification. Tazkiyah is a Quranic principle, the purification of the soul. This act, when done with intention, dhikr, and reflection, becomes a tool of tazkiyah. Salt pulls out heaviness. Water softens and carries it away. Your name personalizes the request. It's not about the materials. It's about the invocation and the trust in Allah's mercy. Just as we wash our hands to purify, this ritual is a symbolic way of saying, purify my heart, my path, and my story, Ya Allah. Did you know water is mentioned over 60 times in the Quran, always as a sign of divine mercy, life, or testing? Which verse about water, salt, or purification resonates most with you? Drop it in the comments. Someone might need to read it today. Call to action and engagement. Your name is not just letters, it's a frequency. Your dua is not just words, it's a code. Salt and water are not just elements, they're carriers of the unseen. You've made it this far, not by accident. If this practice of placing your name in salt water speaks to your heart, it may be because something inside you is ready to release, cleanse, or realign with your fitra, your pure, God-given nature. But before you act, ground yourself in these 4 intentions. Each one, purity of intention, always first. Don't do this because it's trending. Do it because you sincerely want to reset spiritually. Do it as a means of self-accountability, not spiritual outsourcing. Actions are by intentions. Hadith, Bukhari and Muslim. This is not a shortcut to barakah. It's a symbolic act of saying, Jit ya Allah, help me remove what doesn't belong in my heart or life. 2. Ask for heart cleansing, not just results. Don't only ask for outcomes, like a job, a marriage, or an apology. Ask for what's beneath the surface. Softness of heart, tawakkul, trust, clarity, freedom from envy or grudges, peace with Allah's decree. When your heart is clean, the doors of risk open in ways no ritual can predict. 3. The ritual is a reminder, not a replacement. Salt and water are not divine. They are reminders of Allah's power in the natural world. Never believe they hold power by themselves. This would cross into superstition, shirk. But when used with knowledge, humility, and intention, they can focus the heart, like prayer beads, fasting, or sujood. The Prophet said, "Indeed, Allah is pure, and He accepts only what is pure." Muslim. 4. Let this be a door, not a destination. Use this ritual as a starting point. Begin journaling your spiritual reflections. Return to regular salah with presence. Clean your physical space alongside your soul. Remove the spiritual clutter you've been avoiding. Don't depend on it. Depend on Allah, and let everything else be a tool. Have you ever tried something symbolic like this and found peace? Share your story. Someone else may be searching for that same release. Which verse or hadith helped you trust Allah again when things felt spiritually blocked? Drop it below. If you're going to try this, say Bismillah in the comments and let's make intention together. Like this if you've been reminded of your own softness, not just your struggles.